Thank you so much for that thought-provoking speech. I'll now move on to opposition. Speaking next is Orla Hunt. She's a first-year undergraduate student at Homerton College reading Human, Social and Political Sciences. Orla, you have the floor.
Happen again. I'd like to thank Madam Chair and our accomplished and esteemed speakers this evening, as well as everyone else here. It's truly an honour to get the opportunity to debate with such influential, inspiring people on such an important topic. So this evening, I'm debating in support of the notion that the internet has not ruined sex. If anything, the patriarchy has. Let me begin. The internet hasn't ruined sex, it's liberated it. The internet hasn't ruined sex, it's thrown open the doors for the empowerment of women to level the playing field with men. The internet hasn't ruined sex, it has stopped people outside of the mainstream from being othered, ignored and silenced. Let me make it clear. Before the internet and throughout history, pornography, sexism and sexual violence against women were rife in all global societies. The patriarchy didn't require the internet to subjugate and objectify women. Society operated on the basis that sexual pleasure was for heterosexual men with or without social media platforms emphasizing this. Before the internet, what people knew about sex and what to expect from a sexual relationship was hugely limited by your access to gossip columns, the birds and the bees conversations from your parents, or, if you were very lucky, some gritty conversations with some siblings or cousins. More often, what you were exposed to were the salacious tales and folklore from friendship groups telling you what they'd heard or seen at lunch breaks. They told you what was normal, what was acceptable, and what was expected. And if you were very unlucky, particularly as a woman, you'd enter a relationship, or even sometimes on a wedding night, hugely sexually naive, being told what was expected of you by your partner. The internet, however, has provided a democratizing injection of real-world evidence, educating both men and women on what sex can be and what it isn't, how to find the sex we want, and more recently, how to say no. Just as importantly, how to understand about our own sexual health and how to prevent and recognize scenarios of exploitation and coercive control. The resources such as the Help Me Angela app, specialist chat forums, race crisis centres have enabled us to become more accessible to information that will liberate us. Girls can now go on dates with the fear of being left alone when they know their friend has them on Live 360, enabling women to socialise without the prevailing fear of the unknown. The internet has removed the shame of talking about sex. Sex has been transformed from being a shady, unspoken activity controlled in the shadows to develop healthy sexual relationships with others, but more importantly, with ourselves. Before the internet, pornography was predominantly, but not exclusively, the preserve of men. Top shelf magazines, lad mags, and Page 3 being mainstream examples, with seedy sex shops selling videos and DVDs catering for more specialist desires. Women's role in pornography, in the main, was there to be used and abused for males' pleasure. The reinforcement of the mainstream patriarchy firmly positioned women as actors and objects in porn, and not the consumers. Think about the effect of primary school-age girls seeing and being read Page 3 at the family breakfast table. Even in antiquity, the walls of brothels in Pompeii dictated a menu of services that women would provide for male clients. And porn in the form of graffiti was commonplace and throughout Pompeii's streets and boulevards. The patriarchy was firmly established and in control. However, only since the introduction of the internet have women been able to access the kind of porn that satisfies them, the kind of porn that doesn't subjugate women as mere objects, the kind of porn that allows a woman to understand their agency and their power within a relationship, allowing them to experience and explore eroticism safely separate from male dominance. Internet movements like Me Too has lifted sexual violence against women from the darkness to the spotlight of the global media. In 2006, Tarana Burke began the Me Too movement, connecting and spreading around the world of support for sexual violence. And this was perpetrated by men and people in power. It was the internet that enabled this and is helping to bring an end to the assumption that women can be victimized and then that they must suffer in silence. Has the internet ruined sex? Absolutely not. It's become an empowering tool forming solidarity and a platform where those silenced are now being heard. The internet has also enabled people who would otherwise felt othered and alone to find each other, form communities, tribes, and movements that in time may no longer feel as marginalized as they once were. However, there is plenty of more work to be done here. Digital landscapes not confined by geographical borders enable access for LGBTQ+ communities and those that do not adhere to traditional monogamous heterosexual stereotypes to consume content that works for them and allow us to explore new areas of our sexuality in a safe place, connecting and celebrating cultures on an international scale. The internet has allowed then the liberation of people from pre-internet assumptions that they were somehow othered by mainstream media. Has the internet ruined sex? Not for these communities, it hasn't. It is the lazy, misogynistic pornography, weaponized and monopolized by the patriarchy, that may lead you thinking that the internet is ruining sex, warping the minds of young men and defining sex assumptions. But the internet itself isn't responsible. This is the patriarchy at play with the new devices of the 21st century. To conclude, despite the best efforts of the patriarchy, the internet has not ruined sex. Quite the reverse. It's enabling people to have agency and choice in their relationships, continually challenging the notion that a woman's body is simply an object of male desire. To make it clear, the internet is a platform, whereas we, people, meet. It is true that we all play a part in the ruling of the patriarchy. So let's rather rip the Band-Aid off and start to point the fingers at us. The internet is a stage and we are the actors. Therefore, change is within our power. We are the internet. Indeed, what a regressive and depressing position we would be in tonight if the chamber decides the internet has ruined sex. For it would completely fail to recognize the positive work that has been done. The internet's ability to educate, empower, and enhance people's lives has barely even scratched the surface of what it's capable of achieving. And where would that leave us? It would leave us with a lack of agency and direction for pursuing sexual equality in the reality of our digitalized world. That is why, this evening, I urge you to take the conscious leap to the side of pragmatism and optimism, for it is all of us who can use the internet for the betterment of equality in sex. Thank you.